Are you in for a treat, Expert Authority World? I have none other than the founder of VersiTech, Tyler Young, on today's episode, and I'm super excited to dive into the payment processing and how you can leverage it, the hospitality industry, all these good things, but holy smokes. The man behind it, we just had a great conversation. You're in for a treat. I'm going to bring him up right after we thank our sponsor. Every business needs a book, including yours. Visit freebusinessbookpublishingcourse.com today to learn the 7 steps to publish and promote your nonfiction lead and profit-generating business book in 8 weeks. Once again, that's freebusinessbookpublishingcourse.com. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the Tyler Young. Tyler, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really great. Like you said, we just had a really good chat. I think it went for an hour, so now we're ready to do the real thing.
I I kind of wish we could have turned that into it because it was so deep and meaningful beyond just business and okay, we have successful companies, yeah, like all these things. It's like cool, but now what? Like, so give us a real quick recap of everyone who wasn't there on our TED Talk. Why did you get into payment processing and how are you leveraging it now? Because it's just phenomenal what you've accomplished.
Well, thank you. I was lucky to come across payment processing, just like many who came across mortgage loans, real estate. There are just ways that you can make a lot of money without a lot of knowledge. And payment processing was one of those when I was young. The industry had no barrier of entry. As long as you can learn, you could enter into it. Now, it didn't mean you get a good deal. It didn't mean people took care of you, but you could make a living. You can go out there and sign up to be a reseller of a payment processor, start to build a residual income. And I came across someone when I was 19 years old. Now, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always pursued to achieve and had a lot of energy to offer every single day, and also was fired from most traditional jobs that I had because I always wanted to improve things. And therefore, it made sense when I got to be the only employee in a state for a payment processor, a bank, and learned about payment processing and naturally progressed into starting my own company, which I ran solo for quite some time, just building up a portfolio of merchants and bootstrapping it. And that's the beauty of residual income. I think a lot of people understand the power of residual income today, but 15 years ago, it wasn't widely talked about.
I would have to say you're absolutely right. 15 years ago, it was on the cusp of it, if you will. You know, there were certain things, you know, people knew about the internet and, you know, you need to make payments and these things, but it was more of a broader sense from my experience. And now I'm seeing, like, you're specific to the hospitality industry. I've had other people who are specific to financial industry or some. I know payment processing is in finance, but it's like there's very very niche solutions, and which is so fantastic. And what would you say the biggest struggle is for these businesses you're helping with, you know, bridging that gap between I have this business, I want to pursue it, the reality is I need a processor, but none of the solutions they all seem cookie cutter, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I think that payment processing, merchant services is a requirement for all businesses, which is why I was one of the many reasons I should say that I was attracted to the space because everyone's a potential customer. And now payment processing has truly evolved because it's a commodity and you don't know where to go because it's everywhere. You get thousands of phone calls as a
Mm-hmm.
business owner in a year saying, I can save you money. And we transition from being that commodity to being a solutions provider. And now it's actually quite common that you're no longer looking just for a payment service provider. You are looking for your operating system for your business, your point of sale. And that point of sale then is integrated with a processor. And we've seen that shift in our industry where most point of sales have been acquired by payment companies. That way we can offer more to businesses than just being a commodity service like a telephone or internet.
How would you say someone should differentiate what point of sale system they could be using? Because there's a couple that I already know about. That one I used way back in the day when I worked for other companies, and there's other ones that I've just seen whether I get hit with ads or someone tells me about, for someone that's really considering this, and, I'm going to tell them they should go with you, obviously, but how do you differentiate? Like, here's what's in your best interest, here's what's in your best interest, and both are great solutions. They're two different animals, if you will.
Yeah, sure thing. Let's obviously stay in the
Marketing animals.
hospitality. Yeah, stay in the hospitality space. If you have a restaurant or, a venue, you are looking to be able to have your staff work efficiently and effectively and have a reliable system. And there are a lot out there that can fit that mold. They've been around for 30 years and they were stable and they allowed all the orders to go from order back to the kitchen. And the reports were somewhat rudimentary. There's been a shift over the last 7 years, and we'll give credit where credit's due. It's been Toast who funded billions of dollars into their development and company to be able to build solutions that go beyond just taking the order. There's an expectation now from the point of sale that it should also manage marketing, online ordering, inventory, integrations to other platforms. It should be a management tool with real-time actionable data that is provided to a business owner, because often in hospitality it is truly a passion career. That's what I have found with a lot of the restaurateurs I've worked with. They just have a passion for food and people and laughter, and they want to create warm environments that they feel comfortable in and want other people to feel comfortable in. And so the expectation now should be, what can the point of sale do to help me run and operate my business? And then if that checks the boxes, what is the support behind the point of sale so that
Mm-hmm.
I have someone available? Because a restaurateur, they have a lot on their plate. Even those younger ones now who feel very comfortable with technology and doing the self installations, on a Friday night when a printer goes down or the internet goes out, it's not exactly what the owner wants to be doing if they're there with their patrons or at home or on vacation, and therefore having a strong support system behind the point of sale. And I think that's really what differentiates Tonic as a product. While the industry has really shifted to the self installation model where you don't have a local support individual, Tonic has focused on really reinvigorating what is called the VAR channel, value added resellers, where
Okay.
we have Tonic partners. And these are entrepreneurs just like myself who sold Micros, Aloha, all the systems that we've known for 20 years. They used to be the only person that installed it because we didn't have cloud. You didn't have remote. Someone had to come in and physically do it all. And now
Right.
with the
And then what
features
happens
of
when something
remote,
goes wrong? Where's the startup disk?
yeah, and who do you call? That's the big thing. Who do you call? And does someone know your system? I recently interviewed Carolina POS, one of our partners, and he told a story of the power going out and they were unable to operate. Well, he happens to have battery backups that he keeps in his rig, and within 20 minutes, him or his team member, I can't recall, was there and the restaurant was up and running in 20 minutes. And that's just a service level that you don't find with a point of sale that cannot have someone local. And I will add, even if they are local, it's what is their level of connection and care to the restaurant. And if it's a partner of Tonic, they're their own business owner. They get to take our product that we spend a lot of money, time, and energy creating to benefit them and end users, and they get to just rely on that as their product. That's the thing I learned when I was young. I learned about residual because it was multi-level marketing. We all probably have seen those. And as good as I was at talking and smiling, it went well for a while. And then I realized those just sold other people to sign up. And I said, I want a product. What can I sell to start just building a residual? Right. And I want to create that. That's what we're doing here at Tonic. We're creating it for other entrepreneurs who want to provide a service, who want to care and connect with their local community. They can pick up Tonic as a product. They can sell it into their community and provide a high level of service. And that's the differentiator of Tonic, is that we are focused on selling directly through Tonic partners, not ourselves.
That's fantastic because I can tell you for sure I generally tend to go for premium services that you pay a good amount for because of the support. I always look at the support on stuff. It's like, oh, but this one has a better deal. I don't care. It's not a bet. It's a better price, but it's not a better deal to a business owner. Like you said, if it's a Friday night and the printer's not working, you can't do receipts, or the credit card machine isn't working. How much did you really save by having your brother's friend's cousin come in there and hook up the wires, and they probably used USB 2 when it should have been USB 3 because the throughput on them is higher, and they don't really know because they're not a specialist. I mean, there's so many things that go into the bottom line of businesses that how much is your business supposed to be making per hour per minute? That, yeah, sure, if it's a home setup, yeah, spend a few hours messing around with it, but that printer you saved $20 on maybe just cost you $3,000.
I would agree with you, and we have plenty of cases that I can rattle off right now that come to mind, especially in bar nightclubs when you have 4 hours to make all of your sales for the entire day. And if one station goes down or all stations go down, or there's just simply a delay in the system, when you are trying to turn 40, $50,000 at the bar between two stations, you go down for 10 minutes. That math is bad.
Right.
And therefore, having a reliable system, and more importantly, somebody that just actually cares, that's going to be there, that takes some responsibility in keeping you operational, that's really something only working with a business, a small business, can provide you. Because even the large companies are ourselves, if we're not local and we're not there, I may care, but I can't show up. But when you're dealing with someone local and you go down, they show up at 2 in the morning. They drive 2 hours. They're going to make sure you're operational because they've chosen, just like a restaurateur is passionate about the food or the business or the people being happy, so is a techie guy who decided
Yeah.
to say, hey, I'm good at customer service. I understand tech. I like food. So I'm going to work with restaurants.
Yeah, and the thing I'll say is, I to the listener, I hope you're seeing Tyler through the POS and where his mindset's at in the visionary building out everything in advance, because it's not just a software and it's not just a platform. And I had the pleasure, I wish we had 3 hours to go into this, but the psychology behind of what you're doing, would you like to talk about some of that? Because there are so many people that just commoditize their product. They're a dime a dozen. I sell this, I sell that. It's great, but all they're doing, they're nothing but glorified sales reps, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're coming up. But at some point, where do you build out this ecosystem and brand and company? And the harder thing I've noticed is not everyone has that passion and heart for your customer. It could just be transactional, and you're clearly not. So walk us through why you're doing it the way you're doing it and what the bigger picture is down the road.
Thank you, Mario, for that lead in there. Some people pursue success for the money, the riches, the acknowledgement, and there's really nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their different motivator. The key is to find your motivator. My motivator is very much to care for others, to be servant. And that for me started at a young age when my brother had leukemia and I was born into his world. He was 23 months diagnosed and I was born into him. I was still in my mom's tummy while he was diagnosed. And so I spent my childhood in the hospitals. And I'm happy to report he's 40 years old last year. He'll be 41 this year. He's a miracle, literally deemed
That's
Fred
great.
Hutchinson miracle survivor. I was his bone marrow transplant. And I, at 3 years old, so don't give me too much credit. Apparently, I didn't want to do it. I definitely hid from it. Which
That's
now
okay.
is yeah, now as a father and seeing the size of that needle and just hearing my mom's side of the story of having to hold me while they were gassing me to be able to go through that procedure, and her telling me the story of it's to paying for one child to save another. It was a very interesting upbringing that I'm just now really unpacking as an adult, that I've learned how it has shaped me and my care for people. And so inside of our business, it's our culture that trickles down from the team members to our tonic partners. all the way down to the end users. It's very intentional to create a safe environment where people feel valued, feel heard, feel appreciated, and that they, feel pride in where they chose to invest their time. Because that's the thing I value the most, that we all should value the most,
You can't
is
get
our
time back.
time.
You can always make more money.
You can. And, time lost is forever gone. And I look at all of my team members and know that they are working towards my vision and dedicating their precious time away from their own passions for my passion. And therefore, treating the employees as individuals, as people, and ensuring that their personal lives are going as well as their
Mm.
professional life, spending time to get to know them. Someone recently asked me, how do you build culture? And of course, everything dawns on you after you answer it, right? And you say, oh, there was a better way. Uh, just like me getting to where I am today was just seizing opportunities that I recognized and choosing to move forward and not getting stuck in fear. Through your culture, you're going to have opportunities to help people and to help your team. And you have to be paying attention to them. And I'm going to tell you, they're never timely. They're never when the company can afford it. They're never when the company can need it. And they're always the person that the company needs to rely on in that moment. And bam, something happens in their life. That's the time for the company to band together to help that individual. And I have a long list of those stories here, which is why I think we have such a long tenure of average employees with our organization. But you build culture just like you built your business by seeing the opportunities to make an impact, make a positive impact in your staff, and they will resonate with that and they will appreciate that. And the last thing I want to say on it is psychology behind praise. We don't give enough praise. I give a lot, never when it's not warranted, but always when it is. Too often we check a box and accomplish something and we move on to what is next. We don't take the time to pause and show appreciation to the people who made it possible. And it's not just a quick little shout out like, hey, we got this done. It's a conversation, it's time. You can give someone a little award, you can shout them out in front of the organization, but time again is the most valuable thing we have. So as a leader, are you taking the time to go spend it with the individuals who are accomplishing your vision? Because if you're not, you should be.
That is so true, and I'm glad you're touching on it because I think the world just beats up so many people that even when you do get the award or something, it's like, cool, thanks. Not in all instances. Some people love it, but if it's 1 or 2 out of 10 times, you still didn't tip that scale. So, and to your other point is one of my firm beliefs when people are like, "Oh, it's good to see you," "Oh, it's." I don't say that like unless I can like I'm very specific with my words. Like if it's good to see you, it will be good to see you. I'm glad you could make it. It's going to benefit you this and that, but like you're saying there are people who just they don't know how to give any compliments or it's so fluffy and it's always, "Oh yeah, good job, good job." For what? "Oh, I loved your book. I loved your show." Which "Oh,
You
thank you."
nailed it. Yeah.
Your I your interviews. "Oh, thank you so much." Which one? Which part? What chapter?
Yeah,
What
the
page?
praise needs to show that you are actually praising for a good reason and you understand the reason. It cannot be, "Hey, you've done a great job lately." It's, "Hey, I saw you take care of that customer on the Slack thread. I really appreciated that effort." Now you're showing that, hey, it's seen, it's appreciated, it's being watched, and that is so much more fulfilling to an employee because, or anyone inside of an organization. Even I love praise when it comes my way. We all love that
For sure.
affirmation. We all love the affirmation. And I don't want to lose sight to your question where you asked how the psychology impacts the entire business model, because, obviously it starts with the team, but we have intentionally chose to build product and solutions for other entrepreneurs who want to build a business, who need a product they can rely on, who's committed to the partnership. so that they can take that same level of care and pass it downward into the restaurants. And in our case, it's restaurants. But if a business owner is constantly worrying about what product they should sell, what solutions they have, can I get a hold of the solutions provider? It is hard to focus on growing their business. And we want to create the safe environment for our partners as well, where they feel heard, they feel validated, they feel safe, that they've chosen a partner to just ride life with. And that's my philosophy here is time is our asset. Who are we spending it with? And at the end of this run, will we look back pleased? And will we want to dial the time clock back and say, hey, I want to run it back? Or will we say, hey, damn good job? And I want to say, damn good job. And I want everyone around me to say, damn good job. And that starts with communicating what our goals are and making sure that they are felt and connected with the individuals that are here, that they're proud of what they're doing rather than just doing it for pay. And we've created that with our partners, I believe, effectively. And I believe we're forging these lifelong relationships. And not every business model can be done this way. And not everyone can approach culture the way that I do, especially in a retail environment or even a restaurant. People will come there as a stepping stone for another career. Well, fortunately for me, like yourself, when we were talking, you figured out what you like to do, Mario, and you do those two things. Well, for me, I want to build safety for people, and it is long-term relationships is a way to do that. And I had to create a vehicle to forge those. And fortunately, Tonic created that.
And you've done a great job with it. And I want to say, since you are so humble and down to earth, you keep alluding to your team. For anyone listening, he told me the number of the team, and by the time you hear this, it's going to be even bigger, but it's not 2 to 3 people or even 5 to 10, and there's nothing wrong with that. I assure you, you can do some massive stuff with that, but when we're talking about support and the behind the scenes and like how serious he is, one, it tells me, do you want to allude to it? I don't want to say it because I want this to be
No, I
evergreen.
don't mind. It
I want
was
to say by the time you hear it, it'll be over 100, and it's darn near close right now.
yeah, absolutely. I think that that will happen inside the next couple of weeks. I just got a rec request for another 7 people in our support
That's
team
it. The next
today
couple of
that I was
weeks.
reviewing. Yeah, and so we're already with 90 families relying on our organization as their primary source of income. And that's really how I look at it. It's who are we responsible for? And so there are 90 families that rely on our organization to provide. And then it trickles out to our partners, which we have over 200 partners, and then their employees, and then their
Yeah.
families, and then the end users of our products. So our reach is quite wide. And I will tell you, it wasn't always this way. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, but I started this business when I was 23. It's had many forms over the years and evolved. But in 2021, I had 16 employees, and I was happy, and I was profitable, and I was a millionaire, and I enjoyed my life. And I decided I wanted to do more. So since 2021, we now are probably over 90 today staff members. There's a couple announcements of new people coming on I saw today. And I don't know everybody on my team. And it's really weird, quite frankly. I take the time to get to know all of them. And I think I'm going to implement just doing the final interview of everyone we hire. I
Okay.
do that right now for all managers, and I highly suggest it because it's the opportunity for the owner to connect with the new hire, share the vision, and get personal with that individual in the form of an interview before they're an employee, which
Yeah.
creates a unique
Get a
opportunity
sense for them
to
as well.
get a sense. And that way, when you see each other on video chats or in the office, you've connected with the owner, the CEO of the company. And I've been doing that for a lot of roles, but I actually said today in the HR meeting, I want to do that for every role going forward, every hire, because I think it's time well spent to get to know the team.
Yeah, you're phenomenal. And even beforehand, this may have, for anyone listening, this may have been the first time that a VIP guest has asked to get to know me in chat before. In podcasting, there's a lot of people who go, let's do a pre interview. And they do it to like well, is the guest going to be good enough for my show? Which makes total sense. Frankly, I think it's creating twice the work, and I love the anticipation of like, where's this going to go? I'm genuinely like, where's this going to go? It's not pre-framed you know what I mean? There's that element of surprise to it, and frankly, the time. I mean, everyone's busy. The higher caliber people you have, it's hard to get a hold of these people. So it really spoke to me a lot earlier when you were like, before we go live, tell me about you. You said, what's the story, expert authority? And I was like, okay, this is cool. So I appreciate that. And
And
I
that turned
want
into an hour conversation about
yeah,
many things that was great.
and I want absolutely. And I'm stressing we never met prior to this. I'm not a sales rep or anything, but I want to stress because it's my show, and if anyone has a problem, well, it's my show. So I really do want to stress that you're the real deal, and what you're doing isn't just, oh, because people say my team or this, I'm doing this for business. Like, no, you're legit coming from a perspective and a visionary standpoint that honestly I feel is far and few between, and there's not a lot of people I can point to say here. The people I do have, and now you, to talk at this level, it's usually with our authors behind the scenes because, extrapolating all that information, like, I want people to know that there's people like you out there, and there are people that do use their business as a mission to reach more people and truly help them, not just we're selling some product and be transactional. I can't stand transactional. It's why I've always led with transformational. But like I said, I can just tell, and right now I can tell. So thank you for sharing all of that. Um,
Thank you, Mario. No, it's true. I am not here to serve our company. My partner Gary and I, we're self-funded. We make decisions that are best for our people. We're a people first mentality. It's one of our core values, and it's because we enjoy the ride, and we are not pursuing resources for ourselves. I learned, we donate money to a national Christian fund every year that allows us to disperse it out to good causes throughout the year. And it felt great. I recently got to use my entire fund within the first month when I found out someone dear to me was struggling with addiction. And it was like time to go to rehab. And it's just so wonderful. It's one of the things I haven't really got to talk about, and I'm nervous to talk about because that's a woe is me kind of attitude, I think, to tell people the story. But for me, it was a proud moment of, hey, a family member came across my desk and they're in a moment of need. And it was so wonderful to say, this is literally why I did what I've done in life. I'm going to step right in.
I don't think it's a woe is me moment. I think every single person listening or watching has something they're facing and probably are praying there was someone they knew or know that could be in a position. I heard long ago, broke people can't help broke people. There's a lot of well-intentioned people, and it's like, I pray for them. I even lead Financial Peace University through my church, and it's like, just breaking that. You don't need to be a business mogul and have a massive corporation in every single state, but just being in the point where you can be good, to have enough capacity and time to just say, I see a situation, I hear you, let's resolve it. Who else is doing that? It's not the government. It's not any most social organizations. And there's nothing wrong with all of those. I'll be there. Everyone is well intentioned for the most part, but it's your neighbor, it's your cousin, it's your family. It's one of the things I'm excited to continue to do. I've done some and plan on doing a lot more, but just being in a position to, there's nothing outside of your scope, and for no other reason. That's why I'm so adamant about people getting their message out, having why I have people like you on the show, like, because this is another platform to get your message out. I think most people want to believe it. They just don't see the examples of it in their own life. And I have so many. It's overwhelming at times how many good stories and stuff I have, and I'm like, oh man, we only produced 15 episodes this week. I got like 50 that like I can be talking about. And that's the reality. It's like I feel like there's so much good. Like how do we that's what I want more good people on the team for, to help me go, I love the mission. Here's what it's about. Don't worry about it. You go do your thing, and just I can keep recruiting all the good ones. That's been my goal since high school. Find all the good people on earth and showcase them.
Well, I said it before the recording button got hit. But for the listeners here, we have to give Mario a lot of credit. And I said this to you then. I want to say it one last time. Your model, your business, your passion has been to get strong messages to motivate and inspire and help others. And you're creating a vehicle for people like me to be able to do that. So not only do you impact the life of everyone on the show or the books that you help get created, but everyone that gets impacted by that message, because you can't possibly write all these messages. So I am a huge fan of you in this show and what I've learned today, and the fact that your passion is to get other people's messages out there who often are struggle, because the reality is your message, your vision is only as good as your ability to articulate it. And I have been blessed, I feel, with being able to articulate things, and it's led to where I am today. But there are so many people that don't know how to do that, and you're helping them. So I just want to give you credit.
Well, I appreciate that. That's the goal, and I do appreciate the praise too. I need the reminder because Lord knows I get hit with enough negative. I'm going to change this up. I'm not going to do that. We're so far past the okay, don't do thing. Um,
We're going to
you
be
know,
unique today.
let's do the wheel of whatever, and then we can wrap it up after that. So
Okay.
this is just fun. All right, yellow or black?
Yellow. Of course, that's
Okay,
my favorite color.
yellow. Normally, I take carte blanche and ask some off the wall questions just for fun, because most people are not as. I'm thankful for all the guests on the show, first and foremost. Like, I haven't. I'm like, most people don't. Like, hold on a second here. We're over 500 episodes. You are so easy and effortless to share. A lot of people, it takes a little bit more, and they're more hesitant to share just because of whatever. This is business, whatever.
Mhm.
Normally, I take the carte blanche and try to get to ask some off the wall stuff to just make it lighter. I'm going to turn this over to you for a few minutes. Literally anything you want. What do you want to share? If you could say one last thing, what to anyone, business, personal, whatever, what's the message you want to share and get out there?
Thank you. And I've had no preparation, no thoughts. So I'm only going to share just what's on my mind today. And those that know me well know that my mind doesn't stop racing. And I shared with you, Mario, some thoughts I had last night, which I think is a whole book and series that could be documented
100% and way deeper.
in way deeper. So, in this moment on this topic, I would just remind anyone that's listening that everyone struggles with something in life at this moment, right now. It may be minor, it may be extremely serious. Your words impact those around you, especially the ones who look up to you. If you are not being thoughtful in sharing praise when praise is due, take a deep moment and pause and ask yourself, why? Why are you racing so fast that you can't pick up the phone and show a little appreciation to someone who you know and care for, who's done something well? And everyone's different. I have some friends that have faced bankruptcy. I have some friends facing cancer. I have a friend with brain cancer right now. And I saw it on Facebook, and he posted an image and said, well, I hope the doctors can cure this. And it was an MRI. It was a brain, I think, an MRI. I'm not a doctor. And, I thought it was a joke. I haven't talked to him in since high school, really, maybe 10 years or longer. That's not since high school. I'm a little older, but I reached out to him, hit him on Facebook, messaged him, got on the phone. We spent 2 hours on the phone the other day. He made time for me when he has two young children. He's facing brain cancer. He's been off work, and he took time to talk to me. What if I didn't reach out? He'd still be facing it. But
Mm-hmm.
I would think if someone facing such a challenge in life, chemotherapy, all the unknown, and his cancer is very rare, would he take time for me? I think he did because it was good for both of us. And because of Ryan's cancer, I have a lot of history with it, and I wanted to share. Ryan was sent home twice to die, and he survived. So I love to share that story, which is why I kind of think anything's always possible and I never lose because there's always a win. But
Right.
ultimately, my message to you is pick up the phone, connect with someone you care about, even if it's lighthearted and they ran a marathon, or heck, they beat a video game. No matter what they're passionate about, or your own children, sharing that passion with them, motivate them. It'll shift, especially if you have a kid addicted to video games. It won't always be that way. At least you have a kid with passion.
Right.
Share and appreciate that. I think it's important. People don't hear it enough.
Okay. I think on that high note, thank you for sharing what you have. Where would you like people to learn more?
I'm really exploring just putting my thoughts out there more. I'd love for people to
Mm.
follow Tonic, you know, Bold Integrated Payments, myself online. I'm really going to make an effort this year to share more of my story as a father, as an entrepreneur, and the challenges that we go through. Because it may look like I'm super successful in some degrees, but the reality is every day is challenging. I cried yesterday out of the shower. I cried last night. I'm a single father. I have to process those emotions, and I'm going to start sharing it. So I hope other people are able to learn from it and find, we always say it, but men like to find peace. We want to find that center ground, and it's hard to do that alone.
I agree 100%. Let me look something up. I normally ask you for book recommendations. Cry Like a Man. Jason Wilson, Cry Like a Man.
If you'd asked me for a book recommendation, I'm going to admit the last book I read was Hunger Games, the
Okay.
series. And so I've never been quite a book reader. I kind of have this pride of trying to figure everything out on my own. I now
You
realize I
can
was kind of
listen to them
ignorant.
now, though, too.
Yeah, I know. I listened to two chapters of this like book that was hiring with performance expectations or something like that. And I did learn a lot in the first two chapters. And it was all I listened to so far, and that was months ago. Because the reality is you should read, you should listen, because you can learn a lot faster than just trying to figure it out on your own, like I've chosen to do with life experience. So I would say this to the question, and I just thought of it. I wouldn't recommend any particular book or Audible that you should read. I would recommend connecting with someone who can share that you feel comfortable with and learning from them, because you will gain so much more by having someone you can share your true life with and what's going on, whether it's a father figure or a coworker. Connect with one person,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you'll get more out of that by sharing with one another than you would out of any book.
Wow. Thank you so much for everything you've shared. I wish we had more time. I know this won't be the last, but thank you for everything and being honest the whole way through.
I really enjoyed this, Mario. We've been at this for a couple hours. It was fun.
I agree. All right, Expert Authority World, we have another great episode here today. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.